I think a lot of owners slash entrepreneurs, they think that they have to solve all the problems themselves because, of their title. Their title is owner or president or CEO, whatever fancy title they want to give themselves. And that's just not my mentality.
Hey, welcome back to the show. I'm so excited today to have Drew with us because he's going to share some really unique wisdom with us. Drew, will you tell us who you are and what problem do you like to solve?
Yeah, Todd, thanks for welcoming me to the show. Excited to be on it. I love all the content and the value you put out there to your listeners. My name is Drew McWilliams, and my wife, Jennifer, and I are the founders of Ivy Brook Academy, which is a children's preschool, and it is the 9th largest childcare company in the United States.
It's amazing. It's amazing. How many kids have you got?
So we are now up to 86 locations that are either open or under development, which is the fancy word to say either they're under construction or searching for property right now. Wow. And we are located in 17 different states.
Congratulations. That is so awesome. And tell us about the model. I mean, you say kids, childcare, education. What is this really like? What are you aiming for? What problem are you trying to solve here?
Yeah, great question. I never grew up or went to school and said, "Hey, I want to be a franchisor when I grow up." So that was never kind of the thought process.
They don't teach that very often. Yeah.
No, they don't teach that very often. So just to kind of give kind of the audience a little background and kind of connect the dots of kind of how we got to where we are today. My wife and I are both college sweethearts from the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area.
Nice.
We graduated from college. My wife has degrees in elementary education, and my degrees are in business. So I went the business route and did marketing and management, and then have a minor in real estate. And started out in real estate actually at age 19. I knew real estate was kind of my passion, loved houses and loved buildings. And I love that everyone is completely unique and different. Graduated from college and moved to Charlotte, North Carolina, where we reside for the last 23 years. And my wife was a first grade teacher, and I was in residential real estate sales. And my wife came home one day and said, "I've got this calling to work with younger children." And we were in our mid-20s, had no children at the time. And the internal joke that I've got to tell you before you ever get in front of her is allegedly I said, "How can you work with younger students? You're a first grade teacher." Little did I know this whole world of preschool education existed out there for little guys and girls. Yeah. And on our honeymoon, we started Ivy Brook Academy. We were on an airplane on the way to our honeymoon, on the way to Hawaii, and the stewardess comes through the cabin and gives everyone soft drink and a little cocktail napkin. And I gave my wife that cocktail napkin. I said, "All right, you've been talking about starting a preschool. Here's a cocktail napkin and a pen. What would it look like?"
Wow.
And she roughly drew the blueprint for what is our first school. Yeah. And we came back from a honeymoon. I gave it to an architect and I said, "Build my wife her dream." And kind of the rest is history. And that was 17 years ago.
Wow. You are a true romantic. I mean, seriously, on your honeymoon flight, on your way to the honeymoon, you're talking business with your wife. That's amazing.
Talking business. So I've been married for 19 years. Our business has been open for 17 and a half. So, we took about a year and a half to build it, grow it, kind of behind the scenes before it actually the brick and mortar location opened. But I've been married for as long as I've been in business with my spouse. And it's been a remarkable journey and ride.
Wow. So 17 years, 80, how many locations?
So we've got 86 locations. We currently sit, we're in Q4 of 2023 at the time of this podcast. I've got 34 locations open. So I got to look at my cheat sheet. I've got 53 that are under development, which means they're either under construction or in the process of a real estate search.
Okay, so you sound very familiar. This story is sounding very familiar to other franchisors I've talked to, where it takes a few years to dial in the model of replication and marketing of that replicatable process. Will you walk us through that a little bit? Because I think a lot of people are so curious about franchises, how they start and how they get rolling. How long was it diving into that first location that you decided, let's do a second, let's do a third? Like, what did that look like?
Yeah, I mean, great question. I mean, this is growth and scaling. So let's talk about, how do you
Right.
go from,
Let's do it.
plan A to plan B and connect the dots, right? So how do you go
Right.
from one
Right.
location to 86? And that's probably, the biggest question that a lot of
Yeah.
people ask me as well. So we opened one location. We were very blessed that we were successful day one.
Cool.
Thought we had lightning in a bottle, so we decided to do it again. And not only did we do it again, we actually opened up in 2010 during the financial recession. I think
Yeah,
our
that was a
family
bad
almost
year.
disowned us. They thought that was absolutely crazy to double down in a hard market, and that was probably one of the best decisions. Every
Good.
time market conditions shift and people make emotional decisions, I'm
Yeah.
going to take advantage of them every single time. And I've done that in 2 markets right now
Nice.
with
Nice.
financial crisis and pandemics, and ready to do
Good
it
for
a
you.
third time. Heaven forbid if that ever happens. Open a
It may
second
be closer than you
location,
think. I
and
hope not.
that's where we really, yeah, right. That's where we really were for 10 years. We had 2 brick and mortar locations, and we really thought that was our destiny. We did that for 10 years. Great,
Awesome.
great, life for our family. Had children at that time, and it was really our customers that were telling us that we needed to grow and we needed to scale. That was not our desire. It was
That's
not
awesome.
money motivated. It was not vanity for having more Ivy Brook Academies
Sure.
on the map
Sure.
around the
Sure.
country, but it was truly our customer basis that
And where
that
were
that
these
did
first
that
two
for us.
at?
And
Were these
then
in
it was trying to figure
Pennsylvania?
out, no, we're in Charlotte. So
You're in
we
Charlotte.
we
Okay.
moved
Okay.
we moved to Charlotte
Gotcha.
after we graduated, and that's where our base is. So we're in Charlotte, North Carolina, is where our first 2 headquarters
Awesome.
were, and kind of branched out from there. And then we it was slow at first. We decided to stay in the Carolinas, and
Yeah.
one of our best employees said, "I'll be the first one." And
Awesome.
then we had, friend and family said, "I'll be number 2." And then we just kind of grew organically within the Carolinas, just word of mouth, not really spending any money on marketing, and
And this is
we
in
grew
2020, or is
organically
this
for 2 years.
you said that you were there
This
with
is
2
we
locations for 10
started
years?
Yeah, we started selling franchises in 2017.
Okay.
So that's
Right
when
on.
we first sold. So 2017 to 2019, really, I mean, we sold maybe 3. I mean,
Right.
it was just, and
And they
that
were
felt
friends
like,
and family
and
deals.
that felt really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it felt an employees, and it felt a little. That seemed at that time, opening the first 2 or 3 franchises felt like a lot more hectic right now than sitting at 86, believe it or
That's
not.
so
So you
funny.
don't know what you don't know, and
Totally.
no one tells you how to be a franchisor. So surrounding yourself with really good team and really smart people. And I don't ever mind admitting I'm not the smartest person in the room, but I'm the smartest person to hire people that are better
I
and
love
more
it.
educated than me and help me get to where I need to be for helping the
Totally.
the whole group.
So just a few seconds to let you know about a project that we've been putting together for the last several months, and we're finally launching it, called the Captain's Council. You see, as a CEO or operator of a business, it can feel like you get stuck in your own head a lot of the time. You get challenges that you don't know how to resolve. You get people causing problems in your leadership team that you don't know how to resolve, and it's so hard to overcome those things by yourself. You don't have to anymore. Join the Captain's Council. Captain's Council is a group of other CEOs and operators and owners of businesses where we come together once a month for several hours to discuss the biggest challenges you're facing. You express to the council of 8 to 10 people about what's going on. Where do you feel stuck? And these other people are in the same boat as you. They're running and operating their own businesses. They're your peers. They help you kind of dissect what's happening and help you see things that you may not have seen all by yourself. If you don't have a good, strong network of people around you, come join the Captain's Council. This is going to be something that will change the way you run your business and open your eyes to opportunities that you have never seen without the help of your peer group. Come check it out, captainscouncil.com. I love it. I love it. Okay, so here you are. I'm just trying to backtrack here because it's a fun story. I love stories like this. So you dive in, on the honeymoon, build that first location when you get back. Took a year and a half to kind of get it all to fruition. Boom, you're
Yeah.
in it, you're playing with it, and then all of a sudden your second location, and 7 years later, you're like, hey, I think this could be franchisable. You start to move it with some friends and family, and then 2020 hits, and you decide we're doubling down on growth and scaling of the franchise. Like, what's happening here?
Yeah, so we really decided to hit the national button, and
Nice.
we really surround ourselves with smart people. If I'm allowed to give recognition to the people
Hit
who
it.
have helped get us to where we are,
Of
hired
course.
amazing franchise consultants. There's this amazing niche of consultants out there, and everyone has their opinion of consultants.
Yeah.
I had great experience and
Awesome.
hiring people that I don't know, and I hired a company called SMB Franchise Advisors. Steve
Cool.
Biegelman has been truly a godsend to me
Cool.
and my wife, and it's a company that helps takes people's concepts and turns them into legit franchise companies that
Love
can
it.
scale. And until we found them, and then until we found a company that helped us be able to market ourselves and sell ourselves, and that's called Brand One
Right.
Franchise Development, and an amazing friend and partner called Jason Barclay. I mean, those two people really, I mean, helped get us from I'll call it 2 locations to 86 locations, and
Love it.
I couldn't have done it without them.
Love it. Love it. Now, obviously, I love to emphasize the fact that you brought in some people who knew what they were doing, and you started pinging people and saying, hey, man, I don't know everything. Help me out here. Where am I missing? Where am I missing this connection between here and 86? Right?
Yeah.
Like, a lot of founders have a hard time coming to that realization. What was it for you? That was it your wife? Was it someone that you were connecting with that was like, hey, man, if you really want to scale this thing, talk to somebody that knows how to scale this thing? I mean, how did that go?
Froze on me a second there, Todd. Yeah, what was it? I think that I'd like to think that my wife and I are pretty humble people, and from day one we've
Yeah.
always believed in surrounding ourselves with better people. There's a lot of different quotes or mantras that I love, and one of the amazing podcast
Sure.
hosts that I listen to says, "You're the average of the 5 people you surround yourself the most with." And why would I not want to surround myself
I
with
know who
smarter
says that all the
people to
time.
make my average better?
Right.
So that's truly my
Right.
belief.
Right.
And
No, I love
yeah, yeah. And I just want to get out of the way if other people can
that,
help me.
man. And it's so
Yeah,
true. I love it. It's so true. And I find that, you and I both know a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of founders who are running their business, and they get stuck, right? They're doing fine, but they don't know how to take their business to that next level. And then when you start thinking of exit, and you start thinking, man, if I added a few more locations, or if I add a little more growth, think of what my valuation could be. But they failed to pull someone in who knows how to get them to that next level. Do you see that a lot, or is that just me seeing that?
no, I think it's a lot. I'll chalk up the first thing really to pride, right? I think a lot of
Sure.
owners slash entrepreneurs, they think that they have to solve all the problems themselves because of their title. Their title is owner or president or
Totally.
CEO, whatever fancy title they want to give themselves. and
Right.
and that's just not my mentality. Our company needs to survive past myself and my wife. And for that to be able to
Totally.
happen, why would I not put the right people in the right seats? So our dream, which has now become other people's dreams, because they're now, 86 different owners out there, it has to have
Yeah.
a long legacy, and you've got to check your emotions and your pride and get that out of the way for your business to be able to thrive and succeed past your lifespan.
I love it. Now, I'm really curious because I know that a lot of franchises that work tend to have people become repeat franchisors.
Yeah.
And are you seeing this pattern? Or do you have some of your franchisors opening multiple locations, or what's kind of the pattern you're seeing with your own kind of subset of franchisors?
Yeah, Yeah, so a lot of our franchisees internally within Ivy Brook, very much, they've been open for so many years now that they're now coming back to the well and signing up for a second one, which is really exciting. So there's nothing that says proof of concept than somebody that has already opened one, ran one for a year or two, and comes back and says, it was so good, I want to do it again. So that's the best validation that I could ever receive.
Love it. You know, one of the biggest problems that I see with people trying to grow and scale is their ability to create those processes and use the right tools to get them to that next stage. Are you seeing, you know, obviously when you are a franchisor, and sorry for that franchisee slip up on the back one, but when you're a franchisor, you know, putting together systems has to be your number one thing. How do I make this repeatable? How do I get people to just walk in, plug into the system and make it work? Do you have some advice with that? And did you make some big problems up front that you fixed to make this repeatable?
I love that question. Yes. I mean, and again, I probably hope this goes back to, showing, don't let pride get in the way. I don't know what I don't know.
Totally.
And I'll tell you, I know a lot more than I did 7 years ago when I became a franchisor, and 17 years ago when I was a business owner in my mid-20s. I didn't know what I was doing. I had no idea. So you got to learn along the way, and you've got to improve your systems, and you have to be open-minded to be adapting and to be progressive. Because if you're not progressive and adapting, then you're just not going to evolve, right? Like, how many years ago did nobody knew about Zoom? If you go back 17 years ago when we first started, there's no such thing as social media. We advertised in the newspaper. How crazy is that? Newspaper. My kids have no idea what a newspaper ad looks like. So again, just showing time and generation, and that just comes with experience, right? So the reason why people should get into franchising, and I'm a huge believer in franchising, and it doesn't have to be with Ivy Brook, just with anything. I love franchising because somebody has gone through all those pain points, has wasted a lot of their own money, and have given somebody a blueprint for success so they can duplicate the success path and not the failure path. And I really love franchising in the industry because it should get your learning curve, way ahead of scale by doing it yourself. So people, the only flack that I would ever hear is people say, oh, I've got to pay, royalties or, a small percentage of top line sales. But you have to think about it. The systems and processes and put in place should way make you be able to scale more than that, 6% or whatever it might be from brand to brand. So you've got to look at all the, intellectual property and time and processes and signage and trademarks and copyrights that have been put into place. To be able to set people up for success. So that's why I love franchising.
Especially if you're a first-time entrepreneur. It's like, hey, guess what? Here's a pattern that works.
Yeah.
Here's an industry that you probably like. Maybe you have kids, maybe you don't, but maybe you've been in the industry for a while. Here's a way to make this work. And they've learned all the mistakes you need to know, right?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I love it. I love it. You've given two great examples of people turning to peers, people turning to people that have been down the path that I absolutely love. And I highly recommend, like, if you're a listener to this right now and you learn one thing, you need to learn that you probably don't know everything about your business. And you can gain a huge value in going to a consultant, going to a peer who's in the same industry, or even someone outside your industry, and find that connectivity that you can jump over a lot of pitfalls that people fall into when running a business, right?
Yeah, agreed. And I think, and listen, I'm not a consultant. I'm education, right? That's my main thing. And whether it's educating people on, franchising or entrepreneurship or Ivy Brook, or I'm very heavy in the real estate space and real estate rentals, which someone can look me up on LinkedIn. I believe in delivering education and value to others, and just free education is out there. People can surround themselves with books and podcasts. There's so many more educational outlets like yourself and your podcast that you're providing people that have the ability to cut that learning curve, significantly in half just by listening to your show. I think there's massive value in helping others out and being able to help them, kind of fulfill their dreams.
Not going to lie, I'm nerdy enough to re-listen to my own podcast episodes all the time. I learned so much from the people on the show. It is so much fun to hear people share these stories that you just shared with us. And I really, really appreciate it. A lot of us do make a lot of mistakes when we're trying to grow and scale, especially, but also during launch. What are some of the biggest things if you were to start over again, 17 years ago, and you were to say to yourself, dude, just focus on these few things. Is there 2 or 3 things that you feel like you would have told yourself to be thinking about, be aware about as you're trying to launch into a business that's scalable?
Yeah. Do as much research as you can, right? Obviously, I just went down the whole path of education. Education is, the
Sure.
key to success, but yeah, really do your due diligence. Get truly educated on the space, the industry, the company.
Right.
I believe in validation. Validation is a big thing.
For sure.
I have gone through, I definitely have had 2 or 3 easy stumbling blocks that have been life lessons. And I think I learn more from failures than successes, as sad as that is, right? Because they burn deep down in you that you never want to make that mistake again, right? And 2 of those times is probably hiring the wrong people. And in hindsight, why didn't I do more validation? I was just so much in a rush to get from step A to step B. In. I'm like, here's a check. Let's just go. And it didn't turn out right. So in hindsight, do the validation, whether it's on a business opportunity, a franchise you're getting into, in my space, that I have passion about, a real estate investment deal, do some fact checking and validation. Don't feel bad asking for references that you're going to hurt someone's feelings, because I think that's a game changer.
So I love that. That's great advice, by the way. And those of you listening, don't just hire the people that you know. Don't just hire the people that you're friends with. Make sure you're doing some validation. They actually are good at what they're hired for, right? Huge advice right there. I love that nugget. I got to ask you though, because you've brought it up a couple times now, and I think those of you listening who maybe have been in your business for, say, 10 plus years as a business owner, you're talking about 2 businesses. Tell me how you balance that. What you do real estate investment, you do this educational play.
Yeah. Walk
us through that. How do you keep things balanced? And when did you decide, it's okay to be a little distracted sometimes with something else?
Yeah. Ooh. Here's how I do it. There is, I don't have an off button, right? So I have great joy out of working,
I get it.
Which is probably a hazard, right? Like you're seeing all the signs, behind my headshot right now. If listeners can't see them, I've got signs that say success and hustle and execute and grit. I mean, those are just kind of like my mantra. So, I don't watch TV, period. I don't I don't have time for that. I would rather be, I'd rather be working and scaling
building
and growing. Something. So, being an Ivy Brook Academy franchisor, that's job number 1. There's no doubt I put in, the 40 to 60 hours a week on that. But as a hobby, when most people sit down and, watch TV or ESPN, don't get me wrong, I can catch up on sports, in a nanosecond, right? But
thank you, Twitter.
But at that time, I love real estate. I've been in real estate since I was 19, and I've gone from residential to commercial, and now I educate people about rental property investments, and it's an education. It's truly a free education platform to let people know about. There's passive income invested in multifamily homes out there. I sit on a board for a software company, so there's things that I love to do, and I try to give back free, by the way, as much as I possibly can, because guess what? It comes back tenfold, because then I get to be on a show with you, right? And then hopefully I'm helping out other people, and we're all on the same page. So I think if people would have more opportunity to just give back, it's really not hard to do the right thing. It really isn't.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why some folks have a hard time doing the right thing. If you do the right thing, then goodwill comes right back around to you.
Amen.
I never chased dollars. Doing the right thing has all brought back tenfold.
Doing the right thing is one of the best investments you can ever make in yourself and your business. And I really appreciate you bringing that up. Drew, you seriously have brought up so many amazing nuggets. I cannot wait to share this with people out there. And Drew, I know, and you know, that there are always people in our lives who have been there that have helped kind of guide us and maybe mentor us a little bit. Would you mind giving a shout out to someone who's been there for you, that's kind of been in your corner to help you do what you're doing now?
Yeah, first one always is my wife. She is my rock and my business owner and my partner in life and in work. So there is zero I could do in life and without her. And she is a number one for the kudos. And then my amazing franchise consultants and development folks that I named earlier, Steve Biegelman with SMB Advisors and Jason Barkley with Brand One. I really could not have gone from 2 to 86 or even been in the franchise space without them. So kudos to those two guys for believing in me, investing their time and energy in me, and for helping me really get where I am today.
Love it. Great shout outs, great info. For those of you who haven't already thought of doing this already, will you please look in the show notes and connect with Drew? He's got amazing content he puts out on LinkedIn. He's doing real estate information all over the place. Check out his website. If you're interested in a franchise and you like kids, this may be something that's in your wheelhouse. Check it out. Figure out how to do it. I think this is a fantastic model. And Drew, thank you so much for taking the time to do this today. We love it.
Pleasure being with you, and I really appreciate the opportunity.
All right. And for the rest of you, we'll catch you on the next episode. Don't forget to leave notes down below. What would you have asked Drew that I didn't ask that you'd like to know? Let us know down below, and we'll catch up with you later. Thanks so much, Drew. Hey, what did you think of that? I loved it. Honestly, I've never owned a franchise. I've thought about it, but I've never actually bought a franchise and ran with it. I'm curious to know how many of you have. And I'm also curious to know how many of you have thought about being a franchisor. A lot of businesses out there are not totally franchisable, but many of them are. And many of you listening have a business that could be that way. Well, check it out. I hope you find the resources below helpful. Drew is giving some information. I highly recommend you connect with them. And also check out our Captain's Council. TheCaptainsCouncil.com is a place where you can go as a business owner to connect with other people, your peers who are owning and operating their businesses. If you are feeling alone, if you are feeling like you got issues you can't take to your investors, issues you can't take to your people and on your staff, find some peers. And TheCaptainsCouncil.com is just the place. We help put together advisory boards of 10 CEOs in a group where you can ask those questions, play the dumb guy who doesn't know what he's doing just for a moment so your team doesn't see your weaknesses, and get the advice you need from other people running and operating their businesses. There is no better place. There are no better consultants than those who are actively running and operating a business. So check it out at captainscouncil.com. Can't wait to hear from you there. We'll see you there and on the next episode of the Growth and Selling Podcast. We'll catch up with you later.